Ladies, here's a truth most people won't tell you. Men don't fall in love with women they can control. They fall hard for the women they deeply respect. And respect isn't built by accident. It's built by following a few powerful rules that change the entire game. When it comes to creating genuine respect in a man's mind, one of the most overlooked yet powerful principles is understanding the value of your time and availability. Many people believe that the way to connect deeply with someone is to be there for them at every moment, to answer every call instantly, and to rearrange their own plans whenever that person wants to see them. While this might feel like you're showing care and devotion, in reality, it can have the opposite effect. Human nature tends to place a higher value on things that feel rare and not easily accessible. If you are constantly available without hesitation, it can unintentionally send the signal that your time is not in high demand and that your life revolves around them. When that happens, the appreciation for your presence can diminish over time, even if the person cares about you. Being valuable doesn't mean playing games or deliberately making someone wait just to manipulate their emotions. It's not about ignoring calls to create artificial mystery or pretending to be busier than you are. It's about genuinely living a life that is full and meaningful to you, with or without a romantic partner. This means investing time in your career, hobbies, friendships, family, personal growth, and health. When your life is rich and balanced, you naturally can't be available every single moment, and when you do make time for someone, it becomes a meaningful choice rather than a constant default. This natural scarcity makes your presence more appreciated because it's linked to intentionality. The psychology behind this is straightforward. People tend to treasure what they feel they've earned, and they put less value on things that come too easily. If a man feels that every request for your time is met with an immediate yes, regardless of your own plans or needs, he might start to assume that your world is centered solely on him. This doesn't inspire the kind of respect you want. On the other hand, if he sees that you have your own priorities, commitments, and passions, he understands that spending time with you means stepping into a life that already has structure and purpose. This awareness creates a sense of admiration because he recognizes that you are choosing him, not needing him to fill a void. Another important part of valuing your availability is the energy you bring when you do spend time together. If you're constantly on call for someone, you can end up feeling drained, resentful, or taken for granted. This affects the quality of your interactions. But if you maintain healthy boundaries around your time, you show up to moments together more present, more energized, and more engaged. You are there not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. This shift in energy is felt on a subconscious level and makes the relationship more vibrant and balanced. Some people worry that being less available will make a man lose interest, but the opposite is usually true. Interest often grows when there's anticipation, when moments together are special rather than routine. Think of it like a favorite meal or dessert. If you have it every single day without variation, it loses its excitement. But when it's something you look forward to and appreciate in moderation, the experience is more satisfying. The same is true with your time and attention. It's not about withholding affection, but about giving it in a way that feels intentional and valued. Ultimately, valuing your availability is an act of self-respect. It shows that you see your own life as worth protecting and curating. It communicates to a man that while you care for him, your identity is not defined by him. You're inviting him to be a part of your world, not to become the center of it. That difference is what makes respect grow deeper over time, because he knows your time is not just given, it's earned. Boundaries are one of the clearest ways to communicate self-worth in any relationship, and they are essential for building lasting respect from a man. They are not walls meant to shut people out, but guidelines that define how you expect to be treated and what you are willing to give in return. When you have boundaries, you're essentially saying, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I'm not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't align with that. This level of self-assurance doesn't just protect you from poor treatment, it naturally commands admiration because it shows you live by a clear set of values. A man can only respect you to the level you respect yourself, and boundaries are the visible expression of that self-respect. If you consistently allow behavior that goes against your principles or needs, you send the message that your limits are flexible depending on how much you like someone. That kind of inconsistency can make a man lose trust in your words and diminish his respect for you. On the other hand, when you follow through on your boundaries even when it's inconvenient, you show that your standards aren't negotiable based on emotions in the moment. This reliability sends a powerful signal that you are someone who values integrity over temporary comfort. Boundaries are also important because they prevent resentment from building. Without them, you might find yourself saying yes to things you don't actually want, going along with plans that drain you, or tolerating behavior that makes you uncomfortable. Over time, these small compromises erode both your happiness and the quality of the connection. By being upfront about what is and isn't okay, you avoid misunderstandings and create a healthier dynamic where mutual respect can grow. A man doesn't have to guess how to treat you. He knows because you've been clear from the beginning. There's a misconception that setting boundaries will push people away, but the truth is the right man will appreciate them. They make him feel safe in the relationship because he understands where he stands and what is expected of him. It removes the uncertainty and unspoken tension that often comes from relationships without clear limits. Boundaries don't make you hard to love, they make it easier for the right person to love you in the right way. The way you enforce your boundaries is just as important as having them. They don't need to come with anger or ultimatums, but with calm confidence. When you communicate a limit without fear or apology, you demonstrate that you are grounded in your values and not afraid to stand alone if necessary. This confidence is magnetic. A man respects a woman who can express her needs without guilt and hold her ground without unnecessary drama. Boundaries, when applied consistently and without resentment, create an environment where respect isn't just given, it's earned naturally through the way you live and carry yourself. Authentic expression is one of the most attractive and respect-building qualities a woman can bring into a relationship. It means allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are, rather than constantly filtering your personality to fit what you think a man wants. Many people fall into the trap of trying to be the cool or easygoing version of themselves at all times, avoiding deeper conversations or pretending certain things don't bother them just to keep the peace. While this may seem like a way to avoid conflict and maintain connection, over time it can create a shallow relationship where your true self never fully emerges. When you express your real thoughts, desires, and feelings, you give the relationship depth, honesty, and a foundation for real respect. Being authentic doesn't mean oversharing every emotion as soon as you feel it, nor does it mean being blunt in ways that hurt the other person. It's about finding the courage to communicate what matters to you, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. A man can't truly respect someone who hides their needs or pretends to agree with everything just to avoid a reaction. Real respect grows when he sees that you're willing to risk temporary disagreement for the sake of long-term truth. This shows that you value yourself and the relationship enough to keep it real, even when it's not convenient. Authentic expression also makes you more relatable and human. When you only show a perfect, polished version of yourself, it creates distance because perfection isn't real. People connect more deeply with vulnerability as long as it's expressed with self-respect. This might look like admitting when you're hurt, sharing your excitement over something that matters to you, or openly stating when a certain behavior doesn't sit well with you. It can also mean expressing joy, gratitude, and appreciation without holding back, which strengthens emotional intimacy. When a man experiences the full, genuine range of who you are, he feels like he's connecting with a person, not a performance. Suppressing your true feelings can backfire because unspoken emotions often build into resentment. If you constantly swallow your needs to appear agreeable, it may seem fine at first, but eventually those unmet needs surface in ways that feel disproportionate or confusing to your partner. By expressing yourself honestly as situations arise, you avoid that build-up and keep the relationship dynamic, healthy, and open. A man will respect you more when he knows that what you say matches what you feel because it creates trust. He doesn't have to second-guess whether you're silently upset or just pretending everything is fine. Authentic expression is also magnetic because it signals emotional courage. It tells a man that you're not afraid to be seen, even in your less than perfect moments. That kind of openness invites him to lower his guard and be real with you too. In this way, your honesty becomes a mirror, reflecting back to him the safety and depth that only comes from genuine connection. Challenging a man without criticizing him is an art that builds both respect and attraction. It's the difference between inspiring someone to grow and making them feel like they're never enough. Men respond well to challenge when it feels like encouragement rather than attack. A challenge done right says, "I see your potential and I believe you can do even better," while criticism says, "You're falling short and I'm disappointed." The first approach uplifts, the second diminishes. When a man feels that you believe in his abilities, he is far more likely to rise to the occasion rather than pull away or become defensive. This dynamic often shows up in subtle ways. For example, instead of pointing out what he's doing wrong, you can frame your words to highlight what you appreciate and then invite something more. If he's putting effort into planning a date, you can acknowledge the thoughtfulness and then share an idea for making the next one even more exciting. This kind of feedback feels like teamwork instead of judgment. It keeps the tone light and collaborative while still moving the relationship towards something better. Men tend to feel respected when they're given room to improve without being made to feel inadequate in the process. Challenging without criticizing also means respecting his autonomy. You're not trying to change him into your version of the ideal man, but you're showing that you value growth and high standards. This can be as simple as encouraging him to go after his goals, reminding him of his strengths, or nudging him out of his comfort zone in a supportive way. When you do this with a smile, humor, or playful tone, it creates a spark instead of tension. A man who feels supported rather than controlled will see your challenge as a source of motivation instead of pressure. It's important to remember that your energy while delivering the challenge matters just as much as your words. If you approach it with frustration or a condescending attitude, even the most constructive suggestion can be taken the wrong way. But if you bring genuine warmth and confidence, your message is far more likely to inspire action. This balance communicates that you're not just pointing out flaws, you're invested in helping both of you grow together. This approach also keeps attraction alive because it adds an element of unpredictability and fun. When you challenge a man playfully, you break routine and invite him to step up in ways that make him feel alive. Men respect women who push them to be better while still making them feel capable, appreciated, and valued in the process. The challenge becomes something exciting rather than intimidating, and the relationship becomes a space where both partners can grow stronger without losing the joy that brought them together in the first place. Emotional independence is one of the most attractive and respect-commanding traits a woman can have in a relationship. It means being able to maintain your happiness, sense of purpose, and self-worth regardless of whether or not you're receiving constant attention or validation from a man. This doesn't mean you don't care about the relationship or that you avoid leaning on each other for support, but it does mean you're not relying on him to fill emotional gaps that only you can truly address. A woman who is emotionally independent has her own life, passions, and ambitions, and while she shares them with her partner, she doesn't hand over responsibility for her entire emotional state. When you are emotionally independent, a man sees that you have a life that existed before him and will continue to thrive with or or without him. This creates a dynamic of choice rather than dependency. You're with him because you want to be, not because you need to be. That difference is powerful. It removes pressure from the relationship because he doesn't feel like he has to constantly complete you or keep you entertained. Instead, he can enjoy being part of your already fulfilling life. Men tend to respect women who carry themselves with a sense of self-sufficiency because it shows strength and confidence. Emotional independence also allows you to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than fear. If you depend too heavily on a man for your happiness, you may find yourself tolerating poor behavior or staying in situations that don't serve you simply to avoid being alone. But when you know you can stand on your own, you set higher standards and are less likely to compromise your values for temporary comfort. This naturally earns his respect because it shows that your commitment is rooted in strength, not desperation. Another benefit of emotional independence is that it makes the time you spend together more meaningful. When you're not clinging to him for constant reassurance, you can show up in the relationship as your best self, energized, confident, and genuinely present. You're bringing value rather than draining it. This balance keeps the relationship fresh because you're continually adding to each other's lives instead of one person carrying the emotional weight for both. It's also worth noting that emotional independence is contagious. When a man sees that you're capable of managing your own emotions, it can inspire him to do the same. The relationship becomes healthier because both people are responsible for their own well-being, which reduces unnecessary conflict and resentment. Instead of reacting out of insecurity, you're both able to communicate from a place of stability. Ultimately, emotional independence makes you a partner, not a passenger. You're walking beside him, not being carried, and that equality fosters both respect and attraction. It shows that while you value the connection, you're fully capable of creating joy, meaning, and stability in your own life, and that's a quality men deeply admire. Rewarding the right behavior is one of the most effective ways to build respect and strengthen a relationship, yet it's something many people overlook. In romantic dynamics, it's common to focus on pointing out what's wrong while taking the good moments for granted. Over time, this can leave the other person feeling unappreciated or discouraged. When you acknowledge and appreciate the behavior you want to see more of, you're reinforcing it in a way that makes your partner naturally want to keep doing it. This isn't manipulation, it's simply understanding human nature. People tend to repeat actions that are met with genuine positive feedback. When a man makes an effort, whether it's planning a thoughtful date, listening attentively, or supporting you in a meaningful way, showing appreciation lets him know his actions are noticed and valued. This can be as simple as saying, "I really love that you did this," or expressing how his effort made you feel. The key is to be specific. Generic praise like "thanks" is nice, but detailed appreciation, "it made me feel so cared for when you remembered that detail about my day," creates a stronger emotional impact. This helps him understand exactly what you value so he can continue to give more of it. Rewarding good behavior also shifts the tone of the relationship toward positivity. If the majority of your feedback comes in the form of criticism or complaints, even if those criticisms are valid, the relationship can start to feel heavy and discouraging. But when positive reinforcement is the dominant tone, your partner associates being with you with feelings of success, capability, and pride. This doesn't mean you ignore problems or avoid speaking up when something's wrong. It just means you balance that with a conscious effort to acknowledge when things are going right. Another benefit is that it encourages effort without demanding it. When you recognize a man's actions instead of making them seem like an obligation, he feels motivated to contribute because it's rewarding, not because he's afraid of consequences. This taps into the natural human desire to please someone we care about. In turn, he will associate his positive actions with the positive emotions you reflect back to him, creating a cycle where respect and connection grow. It's important to note that rewarding the right behavior works best when it's genuine. Forced praise or exaggerated reactions can feel insincere and diminish trust. The goal is not to flatter for the sake of it, but to sincerely express gratitude when he does something that aligns with your values or strengthens the relationship. Over time, this approach fosters a sense of teamwork where both partners feel acknowledged and valued. By focusing on and reinforcing the behavior you appreciate, you're not only encouraging more of it, but also showing that you notice and respect his contributions. That mutual recognition becomes one of the building blocks of a strong, lasting connection, where both people are motivated to bring out the best in each other. At the heart of it all, these 4 rules work because they come from a place of self-respect, clarity, and authenticity. When you value your time, set and uphold your boundaries, express yourself honestly, challenge with encouragement, maintain emotional independence, and reward the behavior you want to see more of, you create a dynamic where respect is not demanded, it's inspired. You're showing a man that you're not only confident in who you are, but that you also know how to build a relationship that's healthy, exciting, and mutually fulfilling. In doing so, you naturally attract the kind of man who sees your worth, honors it, and never stops valuing the connection you share.